What's up, YouTube? Today we have a special video. Just as the thumbnail shows, we're visiting a village with only one resident left. You'll see just how remote it is. Specifically, well, I'm going to show you because I think you're going to be amazed, just like I am right now. Look where we are. We're completely surrounded by nature in the middle of the mountains. I'm going to give you a panoramic view so you can see what all of this looks like and where the village is, which is right there. Some of them are already covered. Well, actually, not just some. Almost all the houses are covered by weeds, and the only inhabited house is over there where a really nice man lives. And then we're going to go interview him so he can tell us what life is like here and tell us a little bit about this village that's disappearing. Right now, I'm following this path here, which used to be the old mailman's route, and that's how I'm getting into the village after coming to check out the area a bit. But all of this here was the mailman's path, where the mailman used to bring letters to the people in the village. I came in on a different track you can't see. It's over there among the trees with the off-road vehicle. There's a track to get here and you can make it. And well, I don't think it's so inaccessible that no one would want to come and invest in a place as beautiful as this. It's a shame that this is being lost, and above all that we don't value this, which was our history completely. So without further ado, let's head down this little path I mentioned and get to know the village. Well, look at how much the mailman had to walk, and honestly, I've already walked over a kilometer myself. And this whole little path, which is just beautiful, as you can see, it's all cliffs from here on out. And well, he used to come through here to deliver the letters. I imagine that when the weather was good, and even if there was snow, they would come with some kind of device on their feet to be able to access these places. But it's dangerous now since there have been several landslides, as you can see, and part of the path has collapsed. So, since there's only one inhabitant left here and the poor guy does what he can, this place is disappearing rapidly. I'm going to go down through here, and when I'm close to the village, I'll record a bit more for you. I wanted to share this since many of my followers aren't from here, from Spain or Asturias, and argalo is when the ground gives way and destroys the path, blocks it, or something like that when the material falls down. As you can see, that's the entire path. Here it was a bit wider, and there it starts disappearing. And now I'll record again when I'm up in the village. Well, I've already walked all the way here, and the entrance to the village through the mailman's area, the route they called the mailman's route, is this one, which is where the gentleman lives. All right, Mariano lives there, and then, well, there's an old stable there, and above there used to be another house, and that's it. Let's go up, and I'll show you everything as we go. Because you can still see the streets in the village, and it's worth seeing and leaving a bit of a visual record of these places. Because as soon as Mariano stops living here, all of this will probably disappear. This was once an old stable. As I said, look, here comes Mariano's little dog to greet us. He lives here, and later we'll go interview and talk with him. And let's take a look at this house here, because it's the first house that was in the village, along with Mariano's, which we just saw. It was the very first house here. And a family lived here, which was his family. And well, as you can see, the house, from being unused, has ended up in ruins. But this was a home, not a stable, just so you get an idea. All right, well, now they keep construction materials and all that here, because a few years ago I was told there was a landslide here, which is another very big collapse. And the rocks and all the debris reached all the way to the central square of the village, which was this one here. And he, little by little, started removing all the material that fell here and clearing it away so that today we can get there by car. Those are his vehicles and mine. No one else is here. That's the postman's house, as he told me. We'll talk to him later for more info. Let's get closer and take a look. This whole village is on a slope. And as you can see, I'm already tired because I did the route really fast. But look, you can still see there wool from some kind of mattress that we've already seen in previous videos. Sheep wool is well preserved over time, as you can see. And well, this house is closed and we won't be able to see it from the inside. This is just to give you an idea of what the buildings were like here before. We're going to walk up what was once the village's main street. Here there was another house that had its own horio. This place is very unique because the horios here weren't the usual ones you found throughout Asturias. They have gabled roofs. The roofs are gabled and they're called horios beluscos. If you want to look them up online, you'll find plenty of information about them out there. And look, as you can see, you can still make out the streets. And it's a shame that not even a single horio has been preserved here. Well, as always, the problems are caused by humans, as I call it. Well, in the end, they've led us to a reconstruction. Well, Mariano told me earlier that he's preparing this for some horses and animals he has. Begin cleaning the village since, as I mentioned, it was completely overgrown with weeds. Let's go down this other street that turned left. Let's see what we find, since I haven't explored the village yet. Well, here's a street that goes in here. Let's check it out. The first one, I can already see a house over there. This is just to give you an idea, okay? They've fallen here. Well, here there are remains of wood and windows. Tiles from probably this granary that was here. Look, it still has a little can stored there. Amazing. Let's go in here and see what we find. Well, this was a house that has completely collapsed. And there. You can see how it is. You can see the window there. There's nothing left of the house. You can't even go inside. They put wires here to keep animals out and safe from injury. Well, look at this detail here in the wood. At the entrance to the house, this was completely hand-carved. And it could easily be 200, 250 years old. Inside the house, I see a chest with a padlock. I'm not sure if you can see it. And there are a lot of things that have been left inside the house, but since there's no way to get in anywhere, we're going to be left wondering what could really be inside. But from this corner, I can easily see the streets. One went down this way, the other went that way. I can picture people from this house coming in and out here. Nowadays, well, this is probably completely covered now because this man, he can't clean the whole village by himself anymore. All right, let's go up this way. It looks like there's another one. Another house and something else. Let's see. This is the base of an Oreo, where we just saw the small can. This is the base. Just imagine how old it is. The Oreos in Asturias can easily be 400 years old or even older. Some are estimated to be up to 500 years old. So just imagine for yourselves how old this could be. And it's a shame that it's in this condition. Look at this view. The village houses collapsing and the scenery. You can only hear birds. Listen. There are only birds here. There used to be another house here. I can already see the windows and doors. But you can already see how everything is covered by the weeds. I can't go in because I can already tell I'm sinking a lot. But anyway, this was another house. It's a shame that once again it has to be in this situation. And there was another one here. This one, I think you can see something, so we're going to get closer. Let's see what's inside. It's all full of nettles and thorns. Look, see? This is already a village. It's been totally destroyed. This isn't what I usually show you, but I want you to see the condition they can end up in. Which is to be completely forgotten and covered up. We've seen this house and another behind it. He said there were about 7 here. We'll ask him later. But I'm not sure if he said 6 or 7 houses. The thing is, only his is left. Let's go down the way we came. I'm going to turn left here, and I'll show you the street that goes up. Well, I've already gotten out of where we went in, and now we're going to go up the other part of the village. This village didn't have a school. Then we'll ask if it had a church or a chapel, because it really catches my attention. It's not small either. I assume there's no school since we haven't seen one. They usually stay in good condition. Almost all the towns, look. I'm going to point the camera so you can see if there's anything. But anyway, you can see how all the structures are, and you can tell they're all over 100 years old. You can still see the stone arch that used to be here. That came from up there. He likely said it might have been a water pocket or something that broke and pulled a lot of material. But it completely ruined what was left of the town. And there's nothing left here anymore. Here's a panoramic view so you can see. There was another one here. It's in bad shape, but it's still beautiful, and you can see the village street. And all the buildings. All right, let's go down. I'm looking forward to you meeting Mariano and ask him for details about the village. But look at the street. It's incredible how you can still imagine the people from that time around here. Here. And above all, the sounds, nature. There's not a single noise. All right, I'm heading down now. Let's see if we find Mariano. Yes, he's right here in front of the house with the little dog. See how great life in the countryside is? How are you, Mariano? Good, how are you? I was exploring the village like you explained. And getting to know, how are you? What's your name? His name is Trotsky. Trotsky, you're happy here, aren't you? Well, Mariano, look, I wanted to explain to the people, for you to tell us a bit of history, because, well, you explained something to me before, but I wanted you to tell them in detail what life is like here, how it is that you're here alone, and a bit of your story. So, well, one of the things that catches my attention the most is the postman's house. You told me it's the path I took at the beginning around here. Tell us about this house. Let's see.
The postman's house is this house that, well, as you can see, is completely in ruins. Well, just like the whole village, because people left here. And nobody bothered to come back and take care of it. Let's see.
Inheritance problems, I imagine, too, Will?
Some around here, yes. Mostly inheritance problems, you know, as they say, the house is a burden and all that. But, well, yes. Cartello lived here during his last years as Cartello because he had first lived in another house up there.
One of the ones we recorded up there had already collapsed?
Yes, already upside down, too. Well...
He lived here, he brought you the letters, but he lived here, and he did, I imagine, a Viamon that...
married a lady from here, and he always lived here.
Wow, that's interesting. So he not only brought you letters here, but also delivered them to nearby towns, right?
Yes, to Cabela, to Casillas, to Canano.
Okay, because look, we're in the village of Viamon, which I hadn't mentioned until now because, well, I wanted them to get to know you and for you to tell them about the village. Since you're the one who lives here, we're in Viamon, which is in Ponga, yes. And honestly, it's a beautiful village that's being left in ruins. That's why we came here to meet this man, and I think it's amazing that he lives here alone because he has a lot to teach us. Many believe they can't be alone in places, but this man is clearly happy here. And above all, look, he keeps the House of Solitude. Your ancestors' house is in very good condition as much as possible because you had mentioned to me that there had been a landslide there, right? Yes.
About, I don't know, maybe 14 years ago or so, and up there a huge river came down that dragged stones, trees. Well, up there some stables that were at the top of the village. It knocked them down.
It knocked them down. They disappeared, huh?
It buried them there completely. And, well, around here it came down like this, almost to the middle of this meter, the mud in this one.
Well, just imagine that up to the middle of this meter, and look where he's sitting, it was all mud, and he cleaned it all with his hands. Just like the path I used to get here with the SUV, thanks to him, his hands did that work. I was able to come down here because otherwise it would have been practically impossible, since you've already seen what the area we're in is like. The path goes all the way down there. So just imagine what that would be like if this man didn't do at least some maintenance in this village. And another thing I wanted to ask you, look, how old do you think your parents' house is?
Well, this house is about 100 years old.
100 years, huh? And there was one before. 99, 100, that's just a century, and there was one before that too.
Well, it's not here, no. What I do have to say, because, well, here in this village, the people from before, you know, they used to pass down stories and everything. They say this village was already buried. I mean, that an avalanche.
Because
You can see that the mountain over there is cut, and it looks like there must have been an avalanche of rocks, of mud. It must have been a huge landslide. It had to be, and that the original village that was here was buried.
and on top of that, they built again.
And they built again here, and
Do you know if there were any deaths in that? Did you ever hear about it? Someone must have died.
that it's already been hundreds of years for this.
Who? But anyway, rumors spread and the story stayed there.
I imagine there must have been dead people because, let's see, when they dug the foundations here for this house that my grandfather built, they found under a stone what looked like the remains of a fire of wood.
Just so you see, and from very old constructions.
Or they had some very primitive, very precarious constructions.
So you can see that these towns, even though they're in these places, have a lot of history. I mean, there were already people living in these places long before. Another thing I wanted to ask you, which really catches my attention, the children from this town, where did they go to school?
Well, we used to go all around here and there. We went over there where the church is. There was a school. First, there was a tiny little school over there which barely fit us. I mean,
You used to take the same road I drove in the SUV to reach Casielis and went to school there. Exactly. When it snowed, how did you get there? How did you manage the walk?
when it snowed, since there were fewer people then and people moved around a lot, they cleared paths for us.
Wasn't a bit of the path always cleared?
And well, we would go. Sometimes we had to use what we call here baralone.
Barallones, I'll leave a picture for you somewhere, okay? You're probably already seeing it. It's a piece, as you see, much like snowshoes.
Here I don't have any now, but they were some...
Yes, kind of like snowshoes. No, you're already seeing the picture. I'm showing you the picture there so you can see it, so you get the idea. There are two models, right?
One was like a ladder, which is the snowshoe, as they call it now. And the other was like a hoop with woven wires so you wouldn't sink.
No, I'm showing you the wooden one. There are likely several models, but this is the wooden one. And that's it, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I know it's different from what you're used to, but I couldn't miss the chance to meet Mariano. I hope you liked him as much as I did. He seems special and magical to me. To choose to live in an environment like this and decide to stay in a place like this, and he sets an example for many of us about what we should try to take care of, which is, well, our history. Without further ado, if you want to get to know this village, it's located in Ponga. It's called Viamon, as I mentioned before, and Mariano will be happy to tell you much more about the history of this village. Above all, anyone wanting to invest, Mariano will help you however he can to start a project here and prevent the village from dying out, as is happening now. Without further ado, I'm going to say goodbye, but not before telling you, as always, please subscribe to the channel. It's very important, because many of you who watch me don't subscribe, and YouTube supports me if you subscribe, because it understands that you like my videos. And on Instagram, which I'll also leave down here for you, you'll be more up to date with all the adventures, the places I go, and, well, some things that are a bit different from what I do on the channel. That's it. See you next video.